topic, and this is self-compassion. So what is self-compassion? So self-compassion, like the picture beautifully depicts there, right? You are like heart is full there, and compassion involves treating the self with care and concern when considering personal inadequacies, mistakes, failures, and painful life situations. So you don't become very bitter about things that have not gone okay about with yourself. But this is very similar to what I spoke about in self identity, right? Where we were discussing about to be able to um, evaluate a situation, both positive and negative aspect of it, and to be able to not beat yourself down because a certain situation has not gone very well in your life. So to be caring to self with care, treating the self with care and concern, considering the various situations, inadequacies too, not only the positive aspects. In fact, this is something definitely I need to learn too, because a lot of people tell me you keep looking at only positives in lives. You should also learn how to evaluate the negative aspects that might happen. And I might have a tendency to totally neglect the sort of negative aspect of it. But we need to be able to balance out both whatever life situations that life throws on us, to be able to evaluate and balance both positives and negatives, and not really beat ourselves down, right? So having said this, what is self-compassion is the ability to turn understanding, acceptance, and love inward. Okay, so you're able to do that. You're able to understand that this is what is the situation, and the situation had positives, the situations had negatives, and you're turning it inward to basically look at it within and see what else can be done to better ourselves, from every day, every day. So basically what you're comparing is how can you become a better version of yourself, day on day, day on day, day on day, evaluating both the positives and the negatives that might have happened in your life, and with care, with love, with care and with love. So this is extremely important. So that's where the compassion part comes into picture. Okay, so any questions? uh, okay. So there isn't, so compassion and acceptance. So let's go back to acceptance and see the definition of acceptance, and then I will answer that question for now. Okay. So let me move on to the three components of self, because in self-acceptance, like, sort of answering your question, in compassion, we are actually talking about the three components. In acceptance, we're not really sort of talking about the three components. The deeper aspects of compassion is to be able to understand the yin and yang component of an individual, which is not something that we did in acceptance. So each of these are definitely interlinked, very strongly interlinked. While they are independent of each other, they are strongly interlinked. So in acceptance, while the definition talks about something, it's not really talking about the yin and yang aspect, and which is what we're going to be dealing with in the self-compassion definition and the understanding of it. So there are three components to self-compassion, which is mindfulness, the self-kindness, and the common humanity. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is, nicely, it's a little blurred. So mindfulness, self-kindness, and common humanity. So, and in each of this, what we are bringing an angle of in self-compassion is the yin and yang, or the feminine and the masculine ways of dealing with self. So that, I would say, is the thin line that separates between self-acceptance and self-compassion. So please go ahead and look at self-acceptance And then after our session today, how can we, bring this together for ourselves, right? Now, when we talk about mindfulness, it's very beautifully put in there. Being aware of the physical, emotional, or mental pain of the moment. Look at this. It's more talking about the pain of the moment. Sorry, in self kindness, it is treating ourselves with kindness, considering our own needs, and in common humanity is recognizing that these experiences are a normal part of human being. So this is the way that the definition of it is coming through, right? Now, what we need to understand in self compassion is the yang and yin way of approaching ourselves, and also in the process we need to understand what is it that is dominating in us. So each one of us has the yin and yang component within us. And so what is yang and what is yin? So yin is like comforting, soothing, validating, which is more like the feminine aspect, feminine or whatever way you want to pronounce it, aspect of a self, and how we deal with situations in that sense. And yang is protecting, providing, motivating aspect of ourself. So the in the three components that we looked at, which is mindfulness, self-kindness, and common humanity, the yin and yang approach of it comes into existence. So that is what is very, very beautiful in this. Okay. So so having understood this, what I would like to say is, like in the yin way of self-compassion, how does a self-kindness or a common humanity or mindfulness comes into picture? How, you need to understand this. So in yin way, the self-kindness involves soothing and comforting oneself when suffering. Okay, so you say, oh, don't worry, things will be okay, so that's the way the self-kindness aspect of it happens. And the common humanity side, it involves recognizing that pain is an inevitable part of being human. This is also something that a feminine aspect of yourself will do. And in mindfulness, it involves being aware of and open to one's pain and suffering in the moment. This is while this is feminine, so approaching the pain and suffering in this yin way allows one to begin to transform and heal. So we are actually moving into, if you look at self-acceptance the way I had spoken about it, and if you look at self-compassion, there is an approach to things, and it's moving into sort of taking actions, looking at what is it that is dominant in you. And so in a feminine kind of a dominant kind of a person, whether it is man or woman, it allows one to begin to transform and heal ourselves. Because when we say, even if it is pain, for example, mindfulness, being aware of the physical, emotional, or mental pain of the moment, so if it is physical, there will be a way of that a yin way of dealing with it. Okay, you probably go take a off in a beauty parlor, or you take a sort of a massage, or you take a sauna or something like that, like, to sort of soothe yourself up. Could be the yin way of handling the physical pain. Similarly, the mental pain could be something else, right? Probably listening to music, or so it varies from person to person. But so it's typically comforting and soothing aspects which comes into the yin side when it is mindfulness. In self kindness, treating yourselves with kindness, considering our own needs. So let's look at the yang way. Then you will understand, or the masculine way. Then you will understand what is the difference. So masculine way is also called as the fierce way of handling self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. And it manifests as stepping out and protecting oneself. Like, if you look at the way things are in culturally, like a man or a woman, like the father of the family, or the brother or the husband of the family, these are protectors. So, so it doesn't mean man needs to be like that, but in a woman too, there are masculine ways. Like a woman can be really fierce, right? So in this, self-compassion, self-kindness, and common humanity and mindfulness manifest as stepping up and protecting oneself, standing with others who have experienced similar disharmony, and clearly seeing the truth, like, showing people such facts and truth, and stepping up, taking action, and protecting and motivating. So these are the things that comes under the fears, or way of protecting ourselves, like fears way of taking care of ourselves with love. So compassion is taking care of ourselves with love, right? Self-compassion. So this is where you look at the difference, right? So in this way, the yang way, what happens is, compassion shows up as fear's inner strength. Okay, irrespective of whatever the person would have gone through, there is that inner strength which is fierce, strong, and is able to handle the truth, and take actions, and moves forward. It's not it may not be, sometimes it can be very direct, it may not be comforting and soothing, it can be very direct, but action orientation and sort of inner strength to with protection, right? So if you remember the slide here, which talks about just the diagram itself, right, will tell you what is yang: protecting, providing, motivating, and yin is comforting, soothing, and validating, right? So having said that, right, so let me come into self-compassion, yin and yang example. And I would want to ask you this, that suppose you got burnt out at work, what will you do? So feminine and masculine ways, can you guess what would it be? So when you are, so this is on a day-to-day basis we're talking about. When we do a lot of work in the day. At the end of the day, we want to take it, we're really burnt out, right? So what would be a feminine way of taking care of ourselves, and what would be a masculine way of taking it? What could you guess that? And if you could, you can just type that out here. Having explained what yin and yang means, a feminine and masculine way of taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally means, what would it, what are your guesses? If you're burnt out, how do you really handle this? So this is what you need to understand, and you can type it in there. How are you going to do this? Uh, what do you generally do if you're burnt out? You know, and you can even write it and post it in the comments there. Now, so for example, when I get very burnt out mentally, I can do a combination of things. I might just want to take a break and do nothing, or just maybe I'm just thinking what else I do. I might want to go out and meet my friends, or I might want to go and meet my very close sort of, my parents, or maybe spend a time just seeing some good, listening, seeing some good movies, so probably because of the visual nature of mine, but relax or watch TV, sleep, yeah. So, so see, you need to, so when, is that protecting, is it providing, or is it motivating, or is it comforting, soothing, and validating? This is what you need to keep sort of getting aware of when you are sort of burnt out, or when you are trying to take actions for yourself in every step that you take, especially linking it to how are you taking care of yourself, because this is, self-compassion is really linked to self-care. Okay, and I've been thinking whether I should take a separate session on self-care, but when you're talking about self-compassion, it's about self-care. So here, how do you take care of yourself? And what is really recommended is like to do of guided meditation. Yes, yes, beautiful. So what you need to do is basically do a combination of both. None of it is good or bad. Yin is not good, yang is not the best, neither one is better than the other. It's just that one needs to have be able to recognize what is it, or what could be the ways that one can soothe ourselves or motivate ourselves when the need is required, right? Motivating typically is like the yang, and yin is soothing and comforting. So whichever it is okay. right? So we shouldn't be like sort of seated with this belief that it is only yin and comforting and soothing that is good, right? So you may be used to doing that, but that doesn't mean that's the way of it, right? So the whole idea is that self-compassion in the yin example for feminine, the same example that I gave, for a woman who's experiencing burnout at work, would be drawing a hot bath and playing relaxing music at the end of the working day. So which means that this, some of you said, I would like to listen to music, right? So that's definitely the yin or the feminine side of you, or take a hot bath and relax, at the end of the working day. Now, just see what a man, as in it's not as in the gender, as in the physically the gender of it, but what does a feminine and a masculine sort of way of dealing with things, which is there in a man or a woman. A woman has a masculine side and a feminine side, right? We need to be able to identify this to understand how we take care of ourselves. So the self-compassion Yan example is for the woman experiencing burnout at work would be speaking up to her boss about taking some time off or cutting down her current workload. So there is this action that the woman is taking, that hey, see, I'm not able to handle this. I need you to please, I need to speak to you. I need some time out. I need some people in my team. I need to cut down, for me, for the workload needs to be cut. This cannot be a sustainable model or whatever it is. So this is the Yan way. So it's not really about a woman who's burnt out. This is about a woman both in both sides. But you see how a woman with a Yan dominance actually treats herself when with when through with self-compassion, right? So she feels that I need to speak to the boss. So do you see the clear difference? Right? So we need to be able to do both. We need to be able to do comforting and soothing things like listen to music, take a hot water bath, etc. At the same time, to be able to talk to our boss and let the boss know that, boss, it's getting too much. I need some person in my team and I need a time off or cutting, and therefore it'll result in cutting down the current workload. Are you with me on this? If you're with me, just say yes, and also post it in the comments box of what you've learned of this. Okay. So this is very beautiful, right? So there are many existing self-compassion theoretical exercises that help clients enact yin self-compassion. And I'm going to be, that's the reason why I'm going to come up with some more in my course where of these exercises, which will help to develop the yin and the yang way of taking care of ourselves. And maybe tomorrow I'll take up one exercise, and there'll be more such exercises that I would be looking into in the course that people will buy and join when they join my community, right? So, so that's really about self-compassion, because if you look at self-compassion, it's really understanding this aspect. Okay, so now let me go to self-acceptance. Okay, and I want us to, so self-acceptance was, I think, was a day confidence. Let me go back to self-identity, self-acceptance. So if you look at self-acceptance, we had self-acceptance as an individual's acceptance for all of her attributes, positive or negative. Very rightly, Aparna pointed that out, that I did speak about positive. And so here we are very, very specifically talking about body acceptance, self-protection, negative criticism. But there the component of yin and yang has come into picture. Okay, so and we spoke self-acceptance as being part of self-esteem. So self-esteem has these three elements, and then we move to talk about self-esteem, if you remember, right? So we actually moved into talking about self-esteem, having just touched upon self-acceptance, right? So very rightly pointed out by you, Aparna, on this, on what is the slight difference. So I hope you have So I wouldn't say that there is a stark difference, but what I would say is that it is something for us to, the yin and yang aspect of it, which didn't come out clearly in the self-acceptance aspect of things, is what you need to take away from here. Yeah, are you with me? Okay, so beautiful. So this is what we need to do as an affirmation for ourselves today, which is, let's go to that. Yeah, so the affirmation is going to be love and abundance flow through me. Love and abundance flows through me. Flow through me is fine. Flow through me, flows. Yeah. And before that, what I would also like us to do is to read the quote, which is a quote by Ralph on self-love, which is a low. This is something I also quoted in the previous sessions about how a low self-love in the parent desires that his child should repeat his character and fortune. And I get very, very sensitive when I read this, because just by demonstrating low self-love, the child quickly picks it up and just creates the same thing for himself or herself, and therefore it becomes very important. So for us to not really do this, we need to take care of ourselves. Self-care is very important. Okay, so let's go ahead with the affirmation part of it. Love and abundance flow through me. Together I'll go 3, 2, 1. And the assignment is about, think of a situation and see what could be the yin and yang ways of self-compassion, and what are you, which is more dominant in you. This is more like for you to do an observation of yourself. So nothing at the end of the day is better than the other. You need to recognize this. So let's do 3, 2, 1 and call out the affirmations 3 times. Okay, all of us together. Here we go. Okay, I'm not switching on the music, but let's just do 3, 2, 1 and go. 3, 2, 1. Please unmute and go ahead and say it together.
Love and abundance.
Love and abundance flow through me.
Yeah, so all of you need to start together. That's why I'm doing 3, 2, 1, and then you do it together. Okay, here I go. 3, 2, 1.
Love and abundance
Love
flow
and
through me.
abundance to me.
Okay, wonderful. And one last time. 3, 2, 1. Yes.
Love
Love and abundance
Abundance
flow
flow
through
through me.
me.
Okay,
Me.
beautiful. Thank you so much. And think of the actions, think of a situation and see what could be the yin and yang. Yin is the feminine way of dealing with things, and yang is the masculine way of dealing with things. It's not about gender here. It's every man or woman has yin and yang. Let's be very clear about it. So don't think about yourself as a woman when you're doing it, but think of yourself as a person who has both feminine and masculine traits or characteristics, and having that, how are you going to, what are you, what is dominant in you? Just think about that, right? Make a list of it, post it in the, make this and post it in the comments, post it in the various social media platforms. I've been sending that to you. I hope all of you have been getting my mails are also there. So tomorrow we will be doing, I will decide whether we will do self-compassion exercise or we will take up self-care. I'll let you know in the mail, and in the mail, and mail, and also the postings that I've been doing in the groups about with the video links. Okay, thank you so much for joining, and great. So tomorrow I'll be announcing the winner of the person who's been posting consistently in social media. I'll also post it in all the platforms of the winner of this particular challenge till date who's been consistently posting. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow 5 p.m. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.